is a normal Dell Optiplex that I found on eBay for only 80 bucks. Of course, this is a Dell Optiplex 5050 with an Ethernet cable and a Wi-Fi card. Well, guys, I was using the Ethernet cable because I was downloading games. But as you might think, because this is pretty boring, this Dell Optiplex is out of the ordinary. Of course, I wouldn't just buy a Dell Optiplex because I love gaming. And this, with its Core i5-6600, is not for that. So, of course, it only matters about what's on the inside. Welcome back to my channel, everybody, and let's get started. So, if you saw just by the video's title, then you can see that this is actually a Dell Sleeper PC. So, let's take a look on the inside. So, we're going to have to pull this notch down, click, and pull it to the left. Now we have this panel off, we're going to put it to the side. And then we can take a look at the inside. So, of course, we have to take off the Wi-Fi card and the adapter. This is because when you open up this bit, when you open up this bit, so we're going to take off these notches. See, so we have to take it off because the USB port would get smushed as it moves. So this is off, and we're back at the bare bone interior. And then, of course, we still have one more thing to go. This bit, pull it open. It's easy to get this top notch off, but then the bottom notch is always a little pain in the butt. Got it. So, this still doesn't look special. It still looks like a i5 processor, a single stick RAM, and a SATA SSD. Well, you would be very wrong to assume that. This is a GT1030, this is an i5-6600, and this is a single stick of 16 gigabyte, 2133 megahertz, mega transfers per second RAM. And then, of course, we have this 500 gigabyte SATA SSD. We could have gone with NVMe, but we were on a budget, so of course the video's title is this is supposed to be on a budget. So, yeah. And of course, this thing is meant for gaming. It's meant to be a cheap sleeper PC. And, to be honest, my thoughts is, if you owe your friend a computer or something, this is worth it. This is really cheap gaming PC. So, this is the 1030. This is great. So, let's just go over the inside parts. So, of course, we have the 1030 here. It's an MSI 1030. The cable is coming out of here. And it doesn't actually have a fan. It's only a heatsink, which is really cool. Inside, we just have the stock Dell Optiplex CPU cooler, which will work somewhat okay. But we did reapply the thermal paste because when we opened up the cooler, it was bone dry. So this LDA socket's a little bit out of the ordinary, so we just decided to keep the CPU how it is, because it doesn't even matter that much on game performance, but it sure does, so don't bomb the comments saying that I'm wrong. Of course, what was sad is that we would have put a better card, because I have a 3060 lying around, but the problem is, Dell's OEM power supply has, like, special plugs, like this plug and this plug. It doesn't just have the standard ATX 24 pin. So, I can't fit my ATX power supply in here that I'd got previously, CX550, because I was actually going to put my 3060 in here, but since it requires external power, I can't do that. So this card, the GT1030, solely relies on the PCIe slot's power source. I could have gotten a 3050 for even better performance, because some 3050s don't require an external power slot that you usually see here. The PCIe connector tends to be an 8-pin, and but I was on a budget, and I only thought of using it because I only thought of using the 3050, but I'm on a budget because I seen the 3050 online for like 200 bucks. That's way too overpriced, because this thing itself costed 80 bucks. So if you look at the model spec here, okay, so you may not be able to see it, but here it says GeForce GT1030 4HDD4 LPOC. So unlike other 1030s, this one has actually 4 GB of VRAM, not 2 GB, which is really nice. This is an overclocked model, and yeah, it's good. The Juicy 1030, of course, and then let's look at the and then we can have a look at the SSD. So the SSD here is in the SSD cage, easy to just slide out. So, and then in here we have a Crucial BX 500, I believe, because it's a 500 gigabyte drive. And yeah, 500 gigabytes works fine for a sleeper PC like this, because it's not like my daily drive with like Chrome and all my files on it. But then also at the same time, it doesn't need to be like having like 5 copies of Forza or Counter-Strike or something crazy like that. So on here, we're only doing some light games, like when my friends come over and they want to try playing on a computer. This is going to be what it's for. To play Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox even. We could do something even worse for Roblox. And if you want to do this for yourself, be aware that this Dell Optiplex works, kind of. So it came with a activated version of Windows 11 Pro, and I installed a new version of Windows. And I believe, actually, you do not. So at least that's my experience for me, is that after installing a whole new thing of Windows, for some reason, it automatically applied the previous code. I don't know how, but take heed that this RAM that came with it was broken. So the problem is that the thing wouldn't boot because it came with 2 Samsung sticks, 2 SK Hynix sticks. SK Hynix, the fourth SK Hynix stick is in another room, and it came with 16 gigs. And I temporarily used the 2 SK Hynix because they tend to be better than the Samsung RAM. And then I realized that the SK Hynix RAM was a bad batch, and I had to switch this Samsung RAM. But since there's it's 4 gigabytes per stick, I only had 8 gigabytes, so I just went for a Corsair Value Select 16 gigabyte single card RAM module. If you're like, oh, single card, it's not good, it's totally fine, because for 32 gigabyte builds, it tends to have 2 cards of 16 gigabytes, so it's not actually that big of a deal. Anyway, so we have the cooler and we have the GPU. We have a built-in speaker, which I never knew of, which is really cool. I did not know that this thing didn't have a Wi-Fi card. And then, of course, we have the SSD. I'm probably going to add a secondary SSD. Or I'm going to add an HDD to hold my software, like a 256 gig HDD to hold my software. And yeah. Anyway, so let's get this thing closed up, and then we can open it up for some benchmarks. Just realized I took that whole thing apart with the PowerPlex still in. But let's get this thing powered up. And ta-da! Okay, so let's get to the boot screen. And here we are. So let's just open the computer's open so we can take a look at the apps. Just has some simple apps like CycleBin, Microsoft Edge, Steam, Epic Games, MSI, Afterburner for overclocking, Superposition, Heaven, CPU ID, the NVIDIA app, Fall Guys, PC Building Simulator 2, Fortnite, Getting Over It, War Thunder, Folding at Home, Google, Chrome, and Roblox Studio. So let's get a game fired up and test it, shall we? Well, before we do that, actually, let's run a benchmark first. So Superposition only gets like really little frames because it's a very heavy benchmark. So we're going to run Heaven benchmark, and then we can try a game like Fortnite or Minecraft. Got Heaven benchmark fired up. We're going to set the preset to basic so you can get a pretty good idea of what the quality is on this. It's going to be running at 720p. The frame rates that you get on Heaven are not really real life frame rates, because Heaven on itself is a benchmark that's not really real life for certain games like Fortnite and Minecraft. So we'll see. Let's click run and let's go. You can see the benchmark is running Heaven benchmark, and yeah, Heaven benchmark is quite an old benchmark, but it's suitable for older GPUs and less powerful GPUs. So of course we have the NVIDIA GeForce GT 1030 here, and we're getting about 45 frames per second, and yeah, it's running at almost 2000 megahertz graphics, and then the memory is running at about 1000 megahertz. Temperature is at 41 Celsius, which is actually quite good, but it heats up because it's a heatsink later. So we're at 26 frames per second right now, because this is kind of a VRAM heavy part of the test. Now we're going back up to 30. So I'm going to say like it's 20 lows to 50 highs. That's about what I gave it. So this is a simple bit of Heaven benchmark, and then let's get a game fired up. Fortnite or Minecraft? What shall we do? Let's do Minecraft first. I'm just gonna have the Minecraft launcher loading up, and we are downloading an update. Great. Oh, and now we are in. So let's fire up. What shall we fire up? Let's just fire up a multiplayer server just to see a good idea. Let's do Purple Prison, Iceboat Racing, Invaded Lands. Let's do Hypixel. So we're loading up. It gets a little bit glitchy in the first second, but let's see. So let's do FNF3. So nothing happening right now. Oh wow, this is loud. So nothing's happening right now. There's nothing really happening right now. And we're hovering at about 60 frames per second, but I can get more frames using this, doing this. Just do ESC, options, video settings. Let's do, so we're running at 1080p because this is a 1080p Dell monitor. Yeah, so screen resolution. Okay, so let's have, what shall we have the render distance at? We can just have it. I'm just gonna have the graphics at fancy. Okay. Let's turn the render distance back down to the default 12 chunks. Let's try it now. Back to game. And we are getting 68, 65 frames per second. I don't know why in another game I was just getting like 172 frames, but I don't know. So 60 frames per second about in Minecraft at 1080p. So let's start doing some stuff and then let's FNF3. So here's what we can do. Let's just join a random game. Oh, we're playing vampires. Okay, we're gonna play vampires. And I'm going to do a screen recording, so this will be easier for you. Never mind, I can't do a screen recording right now. Oh, yep, see, we're at 152 frames per second. That's what I got. So as soon as we got into real stuff. So we're playing vampires. I'm not gonna like actually play gameplay, but after jumping around, the lows are around 138 frames per second, and I'm getting all the way up to 155 frames per second. So I've seen 134 to 155. That's, oh, I just spiked to 205. 205 highs, 140 lows. It's not bad. Swiggle around a little bit. This is great for GT 1030. I never really knew that these old graphics cards are actually this good. This is totally playable. Like 1080p, 167 frames per second is totally playable, and I like it. So this is actually kind of cool. So we'll just jump around really quick. Let's do some flicking. Oh, I got a 236 frames per second. So if we just like go sprint mode, jump around. Yeah, so it's not that stable at frames per second, but like I'm hitting like 230 frames per second. This is great. I'm not actually going to let the game start. So the GPU is at pretty much always 100% load. Yeah, so this is working great. I mean, this is 1080p, so if you're trying to do anything more than 1080p, it's fine. The GT 1030 wasn't actually a really good thing either way. So, yeah. Oh, we just hit 273 frames per second. I mean, almost 300 frames per second is crazy. And also, mind you, we're not overclocking or anything. In MSI Afterburner, literally nothing's happening. We're only, like, we're on 0. Oh, that stutter, I think, was my Wi-Fi. Not gonna lie. So, yeah, I'm not even doing any MSI Afterburner stuff. As soon as the game starts, we're gonna go and try a different game. I'm not doing any MSI Afterburner stuff, which is actually really cool. See, look at this. Well, actually, no, that's because I'm going under the pool. Whoops. But anyway, let's load up a different game, and let's try Fortnite. We're going to get Fortnite loaded up, and we're just going to load up, like, a 1v1 a 30-gun game, like a public server, so it won't be too intense. It'll be okay. Let's try it. The load times on these things on this thing is absolutely insane. It takes like a really long time for this thing to load up. Just load it. Load. Thing's still connecting. It's been like 3 minutes. I mean, our Wi-Fi isn't great right now, so to be honest, I don't blame. We're loading in! Yay! Preparing shaders and loading in. Let's just try this a little bit. This is absolutely insane, bro. Look at the colors. Took like 10 minutes to load. Okay, to be honest, now that we're kind of loaded in, my keyboard and mouse movements are sadly not working for some reason. Okay, let's figure this out. Okay, so we have Fortnite loaded in. Everything is working. And we are getting a concurrent... Yeah. Oh. My God, these players. We are getting 54 FPS. Downs 37 frames per second, ups 57. So currently we are running full screen, 1080p. VSync is on, unlimited FPS, performance mode. And yeah. So let's just do a little bit of rocking and running and see what we can get our highs and lows to. So doing some walking, we're getting 80 frames per second. This is actually, okay, doing some walking and stuff, we are getting lows 46 frames per second, highs like 82. Yeah. So lows 40, high 70, low 48. Okay. This is, so while we're running, it kind of changes like a lot. Just like it's better while we're running. I don't think that makes sense, but so if we stop moving, we are getting 60 frames per second. It's 60 frames per second. It's pretty chill. I mean, at certain times it just feels really, really, really laggy, but then also at the same time it doesn't. It feels great. I mean, 1080p, the quality doesn't look too bad. It's not like different because I don't have enough money to afford for like a better than 1080p monitor. So on my computer, the quality is pretty much the same as this. I guess when I move around, the quality doesn't become 1080p quality fast, like as fast as my daily driver computer is. But this 1080p quality is great. I'm recording it with a 4K camera. 1080p quality is pretty great. So while I'm running, I've seen 100 frames per second. This is not showing that in the highs and lows because it refreshes every few seconds. I mean, lows 54 is okay. Lows 26 is really bad, but highs 79 is totally playable. I think like quite a bit of people that play Fortnite might actually have this daily driving FPS. Oh shit, I hate when this happens. So, let's just go back to spawn, and this time we're gonna do stuff in UI and see what the FPS can drop to. So yeah, so you can see if I'm running by the gun thing, it's like a little, oh yeah, there's lines, it's artifacting. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of lining and stuff like that. So let's just get something like, oh my gosh, my keyboard. Bro, I'm literally not touching my keyboard. What is happening? I hate when this happens to my keyboard. Good, okay, stop. Okay, so let's just try getting like, oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just try getting some balloons. I think this is my keyboard's fault. My keyboard is really old. So let's just try blowing a balloon and see. Okay, that was pretty smooth. This is all pretty smooth. So sometimes with worse graphics cards, you see like glitching and artifacting when you do UI stuff. Oh my gosh, the switches on these keyboards are destroyed. So if we blow out a balloon, it's pretty smooth. It's pretty dang smooth. At the end, it feels like it teleports it. Like at the end when the balloon spawns, it just kind of feels like you stop. Like if this was recording, it kind of feels like they just stop recording, and then when the balloon is fully deployed, they start again. It just feels a little glitchy. I mean, yeah, this is this is pretty great. So if we go high enough, yeah, so, okay. So we're going to try one more thing. So we're going to try one more thing. Oh, shoot. Release the boot. And we are frozen. We're back. Oh, great. Okay, let's just get to the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wings of Icarus, because then I can test. Yeah, because the thing is, sometimes the lag between when you do a movement on your keyboard and when the movement is registered, sometimes there's a lot of artifacting when that kind of thing happens. It looks pretty smooth. So yeah, you can see. Oh gosh, I hate the fact that there's a delay. So you can see as soon as I take off, there's a little bit of lagging right then. This bit is pretty smooth, and if I do like a left shift, it's pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth. And then I can do like a dive bomb, which is also pretty smooth. So sometimes I've learned with the dive bombs, when like the halo comes around the thing, like when you dive bomb and there's like the ring that comes when you impact the grounds, sometimes there's a lot of lagging, and I've seen other computers with worse GPUs crash like that. So yeah, okay, that's about it for Fortnite. Let's just close. And it took a while. So, to close this video off, this is, wait a second. Close this video off. This is a pretty great, setup. If this is a cheap, computer, I have all the, parts that I linked in the description below. And, yeah, so, in conclusion, I think, don't do this if you're, like, trying to get a good computer. But then also, if you need a cheap computer, then do it. Well, that doesn't make sense. But if you're trying to get a easily upgradable computer, don't do this. Because if you try doing this and you want an easily upgradable computer, this is not going to work for you because you have limitations. Like, PC over here has less limitations because it's a big case. It has two more fan slots here. It has space for more, well, it doesn't have space for more RAM, but there are 2 dummy sticks. And yeah, there's just less limitations with the Dell Optiplex. But if you just need a cheap computer like right now, I think this is totally going to be great. Like, this works fine. The Wi-Fi TP-Link thingy works fine. I'm gonna put all my peripherals in the description too. So if you want any of the keyboards or RAM I've used, or the monitor, heck, even, I'll put it all in the description for you. So, yeah, that's about it. You can go on eBay, find yourself one of these Dell Optiplexes. Oh yeah, by the way, one more thing before we leave. Always make sure that it's labeled MT, not SFF, when you get a Dell Optiplex. Because SFF means small form factor, and MT means, like, medium tower, like a tower. Like, so this is an MT, and the SFF will be like this big by like this. So, well, the SFF will be like cutting off this bit. That's about where SFF is. And that will not work with your GPU size, but you actually could, because if there's only an SFF in stock, you might be able to get a graphics card that comes with a low profile bracket and put it in your SFF. I just don't recommend getting an SFF though, because it has bad airflow and all that stuff. I mean, not saying that this has good airflow, because this thing has no intake and 1 exhaust. But anyway, that's about it. See you guys later, and make sure to like and subscribe, and that'll really help me. So yeah, thank you.